Good evening, everybody. This is KB5MIQ Big Boy. I had a plan to do a soldering video, and I'll probably put it out this week. But I've had something come up I kind of need y'all's help on. If anybody knows if I have a problem, I'm fixing to describe it to you the best I can. Leave me a comment about it. Uh, like I said, I got back into this pretty heavy in '07 after I upgraded to General. I bought this 897D. And I bought a G5RV antenna, and I also bought the LDG 8D897D tuner and the auxiliary meter from LDG for that radio. Put the G5RV up. The first one was made by Van Gordon, and I'm just going to mention brand names for reference purposes. I'm not talking bad or good about any of them. It's just reference purposes. The Van Gordon G5RV actually terminated into 35 foot of 300 ohm twin lead, like everything I'd ever read about how G5RVs were to operate with, and worked good. I made a lot of, especially some European contacts on 17 and 10 both with it, and made 20 and 40 meter contacts stateside with it. And I was pretty well pleased with it. Of course, bear in mind that's my first tuner, because when I was on HF in the 90s, I just had monoband antenna because the only thing I had access to was 10 meter, what little part of the novice section for 10 meters. So I didn't need a tuner. I either run a 3-element Yagi or a dipole. So the G5RV and having a tuner was new to me. So I bought this auto tuner, had good reviews, and then I'm not saying anything about LDG. I think it's a good tuner, but it's 13 years old, so I'm not sure if I'm having trouble with it or not. Anyway, the Van Gordon one was up probably 10 years, 10 years. Got the corroding pretty bad, so I had to shake it down. And I couldn't find another one of them, so I bought a MFJ G5RV. And it works. I kind of was wondering, of course, the band conditions had changed by then, too. The only big difference in the G5RV from MFJ from Van Gordon is that I've always been taught that a G5RV with a certain amount of wire terminated into 35 foot of 300 ohm twin lead, which still acts as part of the antenna, and that terminated into your coax. This MFJ G5RV has what appears to be 450 ohm ladder line feed. It may not make a difference. I don't know. It worked. Use a tuner on it. All right. So flash forward up to this year. I've been retired. My buddy HKV's retired. We got a W5DS. I think I got his call messed up. It's Cody. I got his call used to his new call. I ain't got used to it yet. We got our nightly roundtable going, and I decided to kind of upgrade my 10 meter signal for ground wave and bought an MFJ 2-element Moxon beam. Put it up back in the heat of the summer. Good beam. Really like it. But when I put it up first time, put it up in a hurry by myself, and I got a couple of the measurements off. First time I checked it, now bear in mind I'm running through the tuner. Without tuning it, it was like on 28-450, it was like 2-to-1 SWR, and I got a little higher up 29-450. As well, I just hit the tuner and go. So I just tuned it and went, and got good signal reports with it. Decided I wanted to put a rotor up, and I'd already looked up there with a pair of binoculars, really look at the antenna over, and I'd realized I had it one side closer than the other, so I needed to recheck all the measurements. So I laid it down on a flat roof, and if anybody ever gets one of them, I highly recommend you get some piece of solid, flat, big enough to mount it up on and put it together, because you really need it, because I didn't do it the first time. I got all the measurements back pretty right within probably a 16th of factory by myself, but got it up there, put it back up, come in, just turn the radio on, check the SWR, 28-450, 1.5 to 1, 1.6 to 1, 29-450, it was about 2 to 1. Well, heck, that's fine. So I'm running it, talking on it. I'm not using a tuner. I just got it going through the tuner. But I didn't make the tuner bypass. I just read the instructions on that. That may have been my problem all along, but I want somebody to help me verify that. Anyway, we had one of our nightly roundtables, and I'm talking, and all of a sudden I get a high SWR warning on this radio, so I just hit the tuner and finished my QSO and went on about my business. Well, I got bugging me, and I got thinking, well, I got a bad feed line or what? So I decided to try this. I come in here and I set both meters. I set that meter and I set that LDG meter to SWR. I disconnected the tuner completely out of the loop, went from the SO239 HF SO239 on the back of this straight to my 10 meter antenna. Checked SWR on 28450. We're using AM and FM to check it with because I don't have a CW key, but AM sends a carrier, FM sends a carrier. Absolutely flat on 28450. Did not budge the needle on either meter. With the 29450, about 1.5, 1.6 to 1. That's weird. Actually got on here and I've called CQ several times. We hadn't had our round table. We don't have it on weekends, so I haven't been on there long enough to see if the SWR warning will come back, but I kind of don't think it is. So, anybody got any suggestions? Should I have made that tuner go into bypass mode to bypass the tuner? Because I never had done it before. I run into the same issue with this tuner trying to tune a 6 meter antenna. I knew it wouldn't tune it because the tuner doesn't cover 50 megahertz, but I did not hit bypass mode either. And I called MFJ. They told me not to even run it through the tuner, just send it direct, and I did and got the antenna set. So, anybody got any ideas on this? I may be using my tuner wrong. I read the book on it. The only thing I did not do was make it go to bypass mode. If that's y'all think that's my problem, I'll hook it back up and try that. If not, tell me what you think it is. I'm kind of curious about it. SWR is perfectly flat without the tuner. 1-to-1. Perfect. On 28450. With the tuner, 1.5, 1.6 to 1 without tuning it. That's just what it read by running through the tuner. Anyway, I'm kind of leaning toward getting away from G5RV anyway. Thinking about going to a some kind of monobander for 17 meters. We're fixing to put a 160 dipole up here probably the next couple of weeks. And just see what that goes. That's just part of the fun of the hobby, messing with antennas. Don't have a real expensive antenna set up. Y'all have heard me say that before. Next video, I'm going to show a little soldering, how I solder, the equipment I use, and I'm going to put some PL259s on some coax and kind of go from there. Anyway, leave me a comment if you got any ideas about my problem. If you pass on my channel to anybody, get them to help me get my subscription rate up, I'd appreciate it. Got any questions, any way I can help y'all, look me up on QRZ. This is KB5MIQ, Big Boy, 73.